Hey there. So the state of media, it is so many channels, so much information, so much noise. Is it getting better because we have more competition, or is it getting crazy because we have too much competition? So one of the things we want to do is we want to make sure that we are going to talk about it today. And I'm going to be talking about it with Danielle Ricks, and she'll be coming up right after this. We are going to get out there and get known.
Welcome to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast. Join Pam Perry, veteran PR strategist, Emmy award-winning producer and publisher of Speakers Magazine, who will show you how to crack the code in getting out there to get known. Each week, she either interviews her media friends, PR colleagues, or she just goes solo, offering you strategies on publicity, publishing, and platform building. So listen up to hear how to get booked on media places and on superstar stages. Now, here's your host, Pam Perry.
Hey there, hey there. Hey, Danielle. Thank you for joining me.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
We have known each other for years on these internet streets for a while. I would say at least a decade.
At least.
Now more.
Back when Twitter was Twitter.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It was fun. And then I'm not on that. I'm on Blue Sky.
Neither
But
am
yeah.
I.
So,
Well, I do have a burner account, so I go every now and then just to peek and see what they're talking about.
Right. That's true. But not like we're engaging on there.
No.
It's like, So tell people a little bit of background of, right now you're a professor over at Howard University at the Cathy Hughes School of Journalism, communication. I'm sorry, not journalism, communication.
Right.
And then also at MCM, Montgomery County Media, which I just saw that video. It's like you guys get two offices, and it's just amazing all the work that you do. But it didn't start there. So tell us like where you started and how you ended up where you are now.
Sure. So I'm a professor, as you said, an adjunct at Howard University in the Cathy Hughes School of Communication. I'm also the director of education and community engagement at Montgomery Community Media. So I'm holding down two jobs and love it. It's one of my passions. My background is in broadcasting. I actually graduated from Howard University School of Communications when the dinosaurs walked the earth. We won't say the year, but it was a long time ago. And I started my career at CNN and was very short-lived. I realized I was not made for the kind of news. We were at war at the time, and I was just not made for that. And then I went to go work at BET, and that was my dream job. I moved up the ladder at BET. I loved everything about it. I was one of the, I was working on a couple of shows. I left, and I went to work for an ABC affiliate doing a talk show.
Okay.
From there, it starts to get blurry, so stick with me. So I went back to BET for a little while. Yeah, I went back to BET as a senior producer. From there, I got recruited from the people who I worked with in ABC. Were producing and directing the Gayle King Show. So they reached out to me, and I relocated up to Connecticut to work on the Gayle King Show. And then I got recruited from Disney. So I went down to Florida, and I was working in entertainment for Walt Disney World. And then again, it starts to get a little bit fuzzy. I think that's when I came back to DC, and I was working for America's Black Forum. And I was in
Black Forum. Is that a PBS affiliate?
No, this was a channel that was on our regular network. It just came on Saturdays, and it was syndicated.
Okay, like a community affairs.
They sold their whole library to Black Enterprise. So Black Enterprise gobbled all of that up, which they got some great content out of that. And then I've done, I was an executive producer, and I've watched the industry change. So I went into social media. So I was doing social media for a consulting firm out of Baltimore, and I worked on AmeriCorps Vista. This is going to be long. This is going to be half the show, me telling you what I did. I
think that's when we kind of met each other, when you were doing the social media in the Baltimore area, because at that time people were really trying to learn it, and kind of like with AI now. It's like, okay, everybody's teaching AI, and it's like you don't really have to take a class, and all you gotta do is just pay attention. But anyway,
from there, corporate communications, corporate social media and crisis communications with MGM International out in Nevada.
Okay.
And during the pandemic, I moved back. I started working for Black News Network. And then when that folded,
I
I
hated
started
that
working for
laugh. I
NCN.
just really thought that was going to be a thing.
I
You know,
know.
I
I did
really,
too.
I thought they were doing good programming, but it's hard. Media is hard for them to really maintain the momentum, the money, just really personnel. I mean, people move around anyway in media, but because people consider it quote unquote a glamour field. So there's always people who want to get in and they're jumping in and out like double dutch. But today I have seen so much going on in media. So I wanted you and I to kind of talk about like the state of the media. What were the disruptors in each area and how maybe not adapting to change fast enough will
Yeah.
put them out of business.
Yeah.
And that's why we've been in it for so long. We're always adapting. I mean, who would have thought that I'm doing a podcast on a StreamYard? Like, I didn't go to school for that. I didn't even know what this was. So,
Right.
you know, I didn't want to say like I'm not doing that. I'm just going to stay with the fax machine. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you got to change. So let's kind of go through a little bit. Let's start with print because print is Washington Post, laid off a lot of people. And we're both in NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists. Shout out to them. They're 50
Hey,
years
hey.
they're 50 years older. So it was really needed at the time. And I think it's even more needed now. Not getting political, but Don Lemon and Georgia Ford, they've been going through some hard times just recently. You know, Georgia was arrested and Don was arrested, and now they got court cases. And I think a student was arrested as well. But let's start with print. That's always like the staple. You go into journalism, and most people think like, oh, okay, you're going to go in print, and that's a secure job. Most people who were in print can retire. They can stay there 30 years. They move up the rank. They start out writing obits, and then eventually maybe they're working on the op-ed page, or you know, or a columnist. So what has gone on with print, and why is that a thing now? Why aren't people? I saw the little Sunday paper was so
because of this thing, because of this thing, and all of the other devices that are taking our attention. You know, my background. I graduated from Howard with a degree in broadcast journalism, and I think journalism is very important. And it's we are now in an attention deficit. We do not have. You can't hold people's attention, and to do really good journalism, and I'm not taking away anything from the digital journalists or the digital producers, but magazines and newspapers gave us an opportunity to take a deep dive, right? To take a deep dive into the conversation, not on a very surface level, but if you pick up a magazine now, a traditional magazine that you would have read before, it's mostly advertisements. It's very difficult to get people to read a 4-page in-depth thought. I hate to say it, but it's true. Now, there are folks who love the tactile, right? Like they want to touch the thing, but they're far and few between. They would rather read on their Kindle, or they'd rather get a highlight on their phone, or they'd rather get bad information through social media, not even take the opportunity to go search if it's true. So, and then I have a very good friend who's a medical writer, and had to relocate out of the area because it got too expensive for her in the DMV. AI was taking her job. I won't mention one of her clients, but one of her clients said that they were going to be using AI. And this particular client, you and I would go to for medical advice. And you think that they're going to get rid of a journalist who do a deep dive and replace it with AI, who often gets it wrong. Like they're learning, but they're not there yet. They're large learning models, but they're not there yet with all the information. Is a little bit scary. So, you know, you think about media buys and all of the people who would be affected. It's not just the journalists. It's people who sell the magazine. It's people who sell ads in the magazine. It's the printing company that prints the magazine. It's what's happening with radio, right? Like we're moving. We could even start before radio. It was plays, and then plays manifested themselves on radio, and then manifested themselves on television, and now we're off to the races.
And the television part is really the one that's speeding up the most. So we have all these streaming services and things like that. I was telling you about the DX virtual that we're going to be on, and you're with Montgomery County Media. And so people come in there and they're doing video. That's like the top of the line. Like, I want to be on television. I want to do the video, but it's so much to learn. And TikTok and it's just, if I were just starting out, let's just say I left a corporate career. Let's just say I left a corporate career, 50 something years old, don't really want to go back into the job market. I'm going to really become an entrepreneur. I'm going to build a personal brand. They then, not only will they have to like go out and just like create the content, but they got to learn how to edit, do the video, have a good photo, know how to do the AI photos if you're going to do that. I mean, it's just like, because sitting in corporate, they only had to do one job.
Right.
When they come out, and now it's just like, it is the wild, wild west.
Right.
And so many people, in terms of the state of the media, it's like the integrity or the ethics of the media have gotten less and less, because there's more and more channels and there's not as many fact checkers. Right. My daughter, she's 30. She gets a lot of her news from just online. She would never buy a newspaper or even think to go to the newspaper, because whenever she tells me something, I was like, what's the source? And usually I could tell if the source is a good source. You know, it's like, oh, well, I mean, if it came from the Root, okay, I know that they probably researched it. Or if it came from, I don't know, TMZ, it's iffy, maybe not. You know, so it's like, we just got to check it out. Like CNN, I probably say, okay, that's factual. So how do people decide where to get their information? And then as a aspiring journalist, or they call it multimedia journalists now, how do they know where to go? Or are they going to just be freelancers the rest of their lives?
So that's a 2-3 part question. First, let's talk about Montgomery Community Media. So there are community media stations all over the country.
Some are better than others. You guys have got the really, really good ones.
Well, we have a big studio. We have 2 locations. So we have the location in Rockville, where we have our big studios and our big, state of the art, all the things. And then I run a media lab in Silver Spring for the content creators. So, you have the people who I know prior to the pandemic, coming into a community center, public access center, using all of their equipment and all the things with all the bells and whistles and the switcher and the big teleprompter and all the things was great. And then again, COVID happened and this thing happened. And people were like, well, you know what? I don't need to go use these big studios. I can set up a podcast right now in my studio. I can go to YouTube and launch my channel. And all I need is a ring light and a phone. And my ring light's sitting on my desk right now. I have a big one, but the little one's sitting on my desk, and a phone, and I can get started. And also for the professionals, there's pressure now to go out with a DJI camera or learning how to work a DSLR, and you're shooting and you're editing yourself. When I went out, when I was a producer, I had an audio guy, I had a grip, I had a camera guy, I had all the staff around me. To go out now, we don't need all of that. Therefore, that means I'm not paying all those people. So in our media lab, we can replicate what they're doing in the studios, but all of our equipment is very small, very compact. And we also allow the residents, anybody who lives in Montgomery County, becomes a member, can take the equipment home and rent it themselves. I'm not renting, because we don't charge them, and create a list. So anybody with an idea can launch a brand. You talked about your personal brand. I talk about that a lot with my students. You are your personal brand. That's who you are. So if you're 50 years old and you're starting out and you don't want to get another job, or you've been one of the 300,000 Black women who have been laid off, and you're trying to figure out how to get back into the game, the first thing I do, because I do consultation on the side as well, and I help primarily women over the age of 50 figure this part of life out, right?
It's hard.
It's hard. If you are, doing a reinvention, the first thing you want to ask yourself is, what am I good at that nobody else knows? What do I know that nobody else knows? And what services and goods do I have? What is all that intellectual property that I have? All this knowledge, what do I have that I could share? How could I be of service? Starting with the question of, what good can I do? What need is there, and how can I fill that need?
That part.
And I work through that with clients all the time on Well, I don't have anything to say. You have been in your job for 35 years. You can do a toolkit and charge for that. You can do a PowerPoint presentation. You can do a slideshow presentation. And if you're doing PowerPoint, then use Copilot, because other than that, you're not going to want it. And you can sell a curriculum. You can do a podcast and have people on the podcast to set yourself as an expert. And oftentimes I tell folks to just figure out who you want to be now that you're grown up. Not who you want to be when you're grown up, but who do you want to be now that you're grown up? Now that you're grown up, who are you and what do you want to contribute to the society that's around you and to your community? And once we figure that out, then it's just good storytelling. I tell folks at the end of the day, no matter, I went through that long explanation of my career, but all of the strings that hold that together is that I'm a storyteller. And whether I'm doing it on a vertical or I'm doing it for a national television, that's what I am, as a storyteller. And we all have a story. Every single one of us has a story. So, as I said, full-time reporters now have to go out and do far more than they've ever had to do.
They got to do everything.
They have to do everything. You've got some who are reading a teleprompter and they're running the teleprompter with their foot. So they're doing all the things, right? And we have to, when you talk about, well, how do we figure out what's real and what's not real? Vet. I follow on Facebook, I follow Occupy Democrats. And you would think all that information that they're putting on there is true. It's not. You got to go check it. It sounds good. I'm like, yeah, okay, power to the people. And then you go looking like, that is not what really happened. So
yes,
we really have to guard the information is coming to us so fast and we're being manipulated. We are being,
AI is a big manipulator.
And we're being targeted. So we fed these machines. We fed Facebook and we fed Meta. We fed Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram and now
all our data.
YouTube and Google has just told you, I'm getting ready to sell your information and market to you. And and by the way, we're going to partner with Siri. So now I know everything about you.
Everything. They listen all the time.
So what if you're watching a TV show, a streaming show, which is now using an algorithm to tell when you, not a Nielsen rating, not a Nielsen box hooked up to your television, you're coming to an IP address. I know when you clicked on, I know how long you stayed. I know when you left, at what single point I lost you so that I can course correct in the next episode. I know where you shop because I have all of your IP information because you don't clear your cache. So I've got all your information. So I can now target you with a commercial that's specific to you. So when you're watching a show and I'm watching a show, we're not going to see the same commercials. There's going to be a QR code there for me to go somewhere. And it's probably something that I searched for that morning or the day before.
Because Siri was listening.
Because Siri was listening. Google was following. They shared the information. What if I tell you you could change the ending? That you could be watching a show and you're like, you know what? I don't like the way that ended. Give me 3 other choices and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to pick this ending. I don't like that one. I'm going to change. I would certainly do that for Games of Thrones. Anybody Game of Thrones fans out there, you know we still salty. So I definitely would have changed the AI and what they're, and the kind of data that they have on us is changing the game forever. Forever, ever. And if the ad sales people, the media planning and buying folks are not keeping up with what is happening, they're going to be out of jobs. So we talk about, AI is really affecting the media and people are going to be out of job. Yeah, but it's also creating another industry. The same way the cars put the horse and buggy out of business, it created tire companies, right? And transmission companies and folks who make batteries. And that's what's going to happen now. If we're not paying attention to what's going on, we're going to get X'd out, not because we were replaced by AI, but because AI, which is moving very, very fast, has changed the media landscape in how they relate to us in a 2-way conversation, not a 1-way. It's no longer you sit and you watch a TV show. You're sitting and watching a TV show and it's watching you watching it. It's watching you watching it, and it's figuring out how it can get you to buy something. That's all this is about.
It is. It's data. Just like, okay, what's the data so I can really turn it around and make sure that what they're looking for, I'm serving it to them. So when you're teaching the students at Howard and they are in the communication school, are we teaching them enough to know how to go out and get. So one of the things when I was coming out of school is we would go to NABJ and there will be all these stations there, or newspapers or magazine, and they would line up and they would say, hey, you got your degree, here's an entry-level job. You want to work at the newspaper, you start out reporter, you're doing this. So what kind of jobs are the entry-level jobs are we preparing the kids for, or are they all have to be freelancers one day? I know a lot of people who are freelance journalists, freelance. I mean, there's always been freelance writers, but when I say like they have their own podcast, they're doing red carpet stuff, they're occasionally commentator here and there. I mean, they're putting together like patches of work. So there's no one big thing.
Right.
So how do you prepare them?
There's one or two things. So Microsoft has a communications department. They're never going to not hire. Amazon has a communication. You can go for the big six. So we have the big four, which used to be the big three: ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox, linear television. Those are the big four. And then we have the conglomerates, which we call the big six, that are moving around because they're gobbling up all these other ones. So in the big six, you've got the Amazons, now the Netflix with the Warner Brothers, the Paramount deal that's going in there. So there's several that are these conglomerates that own some of the other ones. Can you go work for them? Sure. Is it going to be a little bit more difficult? Absolutely. But where we're moving in media is to vertical series. And vertical series, this is a vertical. And so we're moving to vertical series. There are several that I follow on Instagram and on YouTube. And they're dumping a lot of money. Again, and we talked about the short attention span, right? So if I could do a 5-minute vertical, and I'm making it pretty easy to edit, and I can control where it airs, and I can monetize that, why would I go and do a full 30-minute, half-hour? So a half-hour shows 23 minutes and 22:30 of content. Why would I do that? So our attention span is doing this, and our opportunities to be able to communicate to the public are doing this. So when I talk to students, I ask them, how are they using AI? A lot of companies, Instagram included, are pushing back on computer speech. So there are roles, there are storytelling roles now. There are prompt engineer roles now. These are still storytellers, but these are people who are able to tell a story from a human perspective in a very quick clip. If you're not figuring, you have to look 2 to 5 years down the road, and we don't know we can't, AI is going to blow our minds. It's blowing our minds now, but
it's blowing my mind now.
So there's also, maybe you're going to law school and you want to be an entertainment lawyer. If you're going to be an entertainment lawyer, I suggest that you look at AI, put some guardrails up for us, because the media is going faster, and the medium than the law. So if you're going into entertainment law because you think you're going to go work at a television station, or you think you're going to work at one of these conglomerates, okay, a few of you might actually break through, but not all of you. The rest of you have to keep us in check. What are the ethical ramifications for what's happening in AI? How are we reporting? How are we doing the storytelling? Are Black and brown people being represented in the story? And even, it's interesting, when I started my class this semester, I asked, I'm teaching a social media and integrated marketing class, and I asked them, how many of you are content creators? And none of them raised their hands, which shocked me. Like, no, we're not. I said, well, are you influencers? No. Well, do you use social media? Yeah, but we don't consider ourselves content creators. They absolutely are. They just don't consider themselves content creators. And there's a pushback now against content creators, and a pushback against influencers, and a pushback against social media. So all the things that got us to this point, people are like, they're looking for the next best thing. They're looking for the next big thing. They're tired of the influencer. They're tired of these people being hired to sell them a good. Realness has come back into the space.
Remember blogging? Blogging was the big thing.
Right. Blogging was a big thing. And so
blogging conferences. I think we even saw each other at a blogging conference one time.
Right, yeah. Exactly. And I think if we're not really, it takes a lot of research and staying on top and reading. newspapers online, but 2 or 3 newspapers, staying with the trade magazines. I mean, Pam, I went to NABOB and my heart broke. Like, I remember when NABOB took up a whole ballroom and there were several tables and we put on our black ties and we wore all these dollars.
Now it's just a couple of rooms.
It was at BET and it was a luncheon. I was like, what is happening right now? And most of the panels, no disrespect for those in the ad agency, because I can't, my business doesn't exist without you all, but most of the panels were about advertising and not about ownership of broadcasting. So being able to be, having some foresight and watching the trends and realizing that today's trend may not be here 6 months from now.
What you said about the 5-minute series, those kind of things, the 5-minute
verticals. Yeah, the verticals. Series.
That is really, when you think about our Black press. So you think of, in your area, you've got the Washington Informer, you've got the Afro, you've got some other newspapers in there. But the ones that are going to sustain are the ones that are delivering that video content online for people to, obviously they're going to report stories, but they need to do that. Rolling Out was like one of the first newspapers that really kind of like embraced a lot of video in their newspaper. And I find that is going to, Black Enterprise does that now. I think they have 3 or 4 shows besides Black Enterprise, but they also do some other podcasts and things like that. I find that because people love to watch rather than read. Right. And then if they're going to watch, they want to watch it shorter. They don't want it drawn out. So that is really like the area that I think a lot of the students should really focus on. Because even if they go to, I don't know, let's just say they do Beyonce concert and the person after the concert tour, then there's a whole movie. The whole movie was just BTS of the concert. I'm like, well, who shot that? That was a whole job. I'm like, oh my God, it's layering on top of layering. Right. I mean, there is content creators are people who see the vision, and that's why journalism is important. They just see it and they're telling it. And so they're putting it online. It's building their brand, but it's also telling a story. Correct. So it's all that I want you to tell the students that they are content creators. Obviously, you did. And then that they can be their own freelance MMJ, get their own microphone, and then they can be in different places and capturing the content, kind of like the way photographers did. Photographers, a lot of times will be freelance photographers, but if they get that one shot, they sell it to Getty Images or whatever, and they get paid. Right. It's the same thing with a content creator. Get the stuff. Right. And then you can get paid, but they've got to have the lens to know that. That is, it's really the thing that probably scares me the most, I guess you would say, is that African Americans, the ones that want to go into the field, and then the media, the Black media, like you said, the BETs and things like that. Where are we going to be? I mean, we've got Blavity, and I guess that's doing well, and Afrotech, but it seems like for a lot of them, in order to really grow, they've got to do experiential things. So Blavity does Afrotech, and I think she's doing something else too, some other events, Essence Fest, so it's like, do we always have to put a party with stuff in order for it?
I'll say news is very expensive to produce. News is very, very expensive to produce, but we need it, and we need the voices that are in the media that were going to keep us informed. Yeah. For content creators, and I'm on the broadcast side, you've got Tubi, you've got Fast TV, and that democratizes things for people, because you can have your own regular television show on Roku, on Tubi,
Apple TV,
right,
Amazon Fire.
So it does sort of level the playing field, but you also have to have enough money to go buy all that equipment, right? Because it's got to look like something.
That part. And people who know what's really good, they're going to spend some money on that equipment. They will not chintz it. I mean, I have friends that I look at the stuff and say, you got all this equipment. It's needed. It's like, that's the thing, and it's addictive too when they, like, why would you have something old when something new just came out? So you want to always make sure that part right there. So that's a whole nother field right there.
Right. Right.
Just really creating that type of equipment and lights, and I got a roadcaster. Listen,
Oh, you
Danielle,
do? Yeah.
I got a roadcaster sitting over here to the side, and yeah, it's like, okay, this little board. I was like, oh, that's cute. I haven't really figured out how to really ultimately use this thing, but again,
we can help you with that, Pam.
okay.
We do a podcasting class, we can help you with
Yes,
that.
yes. And the podcasting thing is not going away.
It is
It's
not.
growing.
And if I hear one more podcasting bro open his mouth and say something crazy, I mean, everybody shouldn't have a podcast. Let's just say that, but everybody can.
That's
everybody
true.
can. And again, we have made it an even playing field.
One of the smartest new apps, I guess you would say, or websites, has been Substack. And I have just really been falling in love with Substack. I really got more interested in Substack after Joy Reid left MSNBC and went over to Substack, and she started doing her show. And Don Lemon as well, he was doing the show there and stuff like that. But it can do a podcast for you. It can share. It's like a Twitter within the Substack, and they're getting smarter and smarter. So you don't have to be a techie. So for the ladies that are over 50, it's like a blog, but then it's like Twitter, but then it's also like a YouTube channel, and you can podcast there, and it'll
monetize. And you
can monetize it immediately, and people can really engage. For right now, they're really engaging because it is authentic. It's what you just said. It's like people want more real. So you don't go to Insta. It's not as curated looking as Instagram.
Right.
The Substack is a little bit more real, and people are craving that. And it's so many different parts of. We can go on and on. There's so many different parts of it. So we went through, and we didn't go over the book industry, but that's a long time ago by Amazon. So print, we just talked about newspapers and magazines. Radio, obviously, podcasting is kind of like that. Television, the fast channels, all of that. But the bottom line is that people who really want to, people who are in this field love words. Yeah. They love the words, and that's but we want them to really look at the data. Part of the analytics, because if I were to do it over again, I would really, really probably said that's the area that you really, really need to pay attention, because that's the part's growing.
Right.
That part is growing. It is going to be a lot of people needed in that part, looking at the analytics and the datas and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
That's the part. So what are the last words? We went through all of the medium. We didn't really go through the online stuff. In terms of we did a little bit, but Blavity, the Rude, the Griot, all those, they're growing.
Right.
They're growing. I don't like so much in pop-up ads, so they drive me absolutely crazy.
Somebody got to pay for it, right?
I know somebody got to pay for it, but I'm like, Lord, I can't read the stuff for all these ads, and then if I try to print it, I can't sometimes get rid of it.
I mean, think about it. In the minute they're gonna have all our data, and you're actually gonna like the pop-up because it's going to be specific. That's for true. You. It's going to know that you got frustrated and stopped reading the article 45 seconds in because of the pop-up. So the pop-up might come at a different interval for you. It's going to know what you do, and it's going to tailor it for you. I guess my last words would be, it's always good storytelling. There's always a time for good storytelling. The cavemen did it on the side of caves. They were telling a story. The Egyptians did it in the hieroglyphics. They told their stories. We have to continue to tell our stories and continue to put forth the truth. That's what we're here for.
That is the whole point of really making sure that our voices are amplified. Our voices are amplified. That is it. NNPA, NABJ, the Black Press, and like you said, the NAVO, those kind of things. That is really, that stands for National Association of Broadcast Owners.
Black-owned broadcasters.
Yeah, Black-owned. Those kind of things are really important, because if they go away, who's going to tell our stories?
Right.
They're not going to tell our stories. So those are the ones I really want you to really nurture. The students at Cathy Hughes School of Communications, to make sure that they're staying in it. And I want to say that I don't know if Gracie Lawson is still there.
She came back to teach.
She did. Okay, we went to high school together. Shout out to Gracie Lawson. Okay, she always wanted to be a journalist.
And so she's not our dean anymore. She stepped down, I think it may be 8 months now, maybe a little bit longer, and she's back teaching. And I think that's I saw her at I
She
saw
loves
at
that.
some
Yeah.
event and I was like, wait. So she's teaching. I love that. I love
Good,
that she
good.
came
It's
back and
full
she's still a
circle.
part of it.
And like you said, once someone is a journalist, a storyteller, they're always going to do that. It's like, this is what they do. This is how they're wired. I want to say that when Gracie was in high school, we were high school together. She wanted to do
Yeah,
that.
she went to high school together.
Yes,
Oh
yes. She
wow.
always wanted to do that. And then even in college, I remember her, this is Gracie. So I remember her saying she wanted to go into journalism and really wanted to be a serious journalist. And she wrote, I want to say it was somebody like, I don't know, some big journalist. I can't think of the name of it is. And the person wrote her back. So this is how long ago. So she wrote them this whole letter on a typewriter. They wrote her back and she was like showing everybody like what this person said that she needed to do. This was somebody that, like, when I heard that she was a dean, I said, I'm not surprised. She was always serious about this all the time. But everybody that I know that goes to Howard really, I mean, the freshman year, they're like writing for the newspaper and they're doing
Oh
this. And
yeah.
I
I was
want
exhausted when I graduated. The people were like, what are you gonna do after you graduate? I said, sleep. I have not worked this hard in my life. I need to take me
right,
a nap before
because they do.
I
That is,
start
they
going
are
look for a job.
serious about it. They are serious
Yeah.
about it. And actually, when I went to Wayne State, I didn't go to HBCU, but whenever I wanted to go to, I think it was the Howard Communications Conference, I would
Yes.
travel there every year to go to the
Oh,
Howard Communications Conference because they didn't have anything like that at Wayne State. Nothing,
gotcha.
not for us. So I would go there. And that's where I heard Percy Sutton. Very first time I had ever heard Percy Sutton.
Nice.
Changed my life. Changed my life. I
Oh,
was like, oh my God, this man is amazing. I didn't realize that he was an attorney for Malcolm X. I just thought he owned like WBLS.
right.
No, he broke it all down. I was like, okay, that's and I want to say a part of hearing that or being around that just for that one little part, Danielle, really
Mm-hmm.
changed me in terms of how I feel about Black media and Black press and really uplifted
Mm-hmm.
our community just to this day. I mean, that was it. And maybe it's because I went to Wayne State and it was always like one Black person in the class all the time, me and another person, or maybe two. So when I saw all the people at Howard in the communication, I was like, oh my God, this
I
is
tell my students, I am you. I was you. Like without a computer, without access to my professor 24/7, without communication, and that when they come to my class, you walk in with an A. You are Black excellence, in my opinion. You walked in for
yeah,
it's yours to keep or lose.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
not getting discriminated against because
There,
of your race or your sex or your gender or any of those things. You came in, you got through the A building, baby. If you get to the administration building at Howard, you can do anything. So you
right.
got through the A building, you got accepted, you've moved up through the ranks, you've come through, you walk in as Black excellence. That's what I see. You can either keep that impression or
Mhm.
destroy that impression. It's up to you.
Yeah, that is good. That is so exciting. I am just so excited for you. And I want to say you got a little blog on the side that said "Live It or Die It." So you want to talk about that, about your personal content that
Oh,
you're creating?
yeah. So I have two different Instagrams and I am being a lot more strategic. I put this on LinkedIn as well. I'm being a lot more strategic with what I spent. Like, we've been at this for a minute, Pam. Y'all don't need to know what I had for dinner last night. You don't need to know where I was hanging out with. Like, we're not doing that anymore. I want to be a lot more strategic about what I share on Danielle Ricks on my Instagram over there, which is going to be about, health and wellness and storytelling and reinvention. So that's what we're going to use that one for.
Ah,
Live It Don't Diet is my exercise one. And the reason I split those two up is because the algorithm, for instance, I have been slacking on my 5 days a week working out. If I can just look at Live It Don't Diet, all of that information is about health and wellness and fitness. It's not sprinkled with anything else because those are the only people that I follow, and the algorithm knows that's the only thing that I'm interested in. But I am going to start cross promoting from that over to the other one because that's a big part of who I am. I've been teaching aerobics since I was late 20s.
Yeah.
When I worked at BET, when I worked at Gayle King, like wherever I worked, I always taught on the side. And so I'm a fitness instructor. I teach at Cleveland Park and Foundation Fitness in Cleveland Park. So I do that on the side. I work a lot. I just work a lot. And that's a journey just through, you can do it. Like, we're older women. We need muscle. We really need to put muscle on our body. We want to be mobile. We don't want to be 70 and 80 years old bent over. We want to continue to have our health. We want to continue to keep our independence. And one of the ways to do that is watch what you eat and watching how you're working out and making sure you're putting muscle in your body and making sure you're doing your mobility work.
And sleep.
And sleep is
Yes.
so important.
Yes.
It is
and cut out the sugar. Like it's really like crack. It's really not good. You know,
exactly.
So many people, I find that a lot of people over 50 all of a sudden, oh, I'm type 2. I'm like, okay, well, you were eating all this sugar. So that's the thing. So we need to collaborate because I have 3 Instagram. One is Speakers Magazine and then Pam Perry. Those two kind of like go together. But then I have one that doesn't really go with that, and it's called Aging Healthy. And Aging Healthy, I created for myself. For women over 50 to inspire me to age healthy. And that's about exercise, what you eat, getting sleep, all those kind of things. And I would post, so maybe I would repost something that you did and put it on Aging Healthy. And that would be the thing. A lot of things I like to do dancing. So I like Zumba. So that's one of the things. So I like Zumba and that kind of thing. I am doing more weight training. So Aging Healthy is a way to inspire myself. So I started, and I started just for me. It has over 12,000 followers.
Wow.
And I had no idea. I was like, I'm just doing this for me. But because a lot of baby boomers, you're probably Gen X, a lot of baby boomers are really looking at Instagram and they're like, I don't, and I was like, well, we need to see ourselves aging healthy. We're not going to look like my daughter at 30. Okay. She run around in a bikini, but let me look at women my age and what they're doing to age healthy. So that's why.
And I'm Jen Jones, by the way. So I am neither. I'm in that crazy little tail end of the boomers, but not the beginning of the Gen X. So I started it for myself too. I don't have nearly that many followers, but I just wanted to track my progress. And I'm also looking at my form. I'm also, I realized that I had to work on my posture. Like watching these videos, I was like, girl, you got to stand. What is happening? Like,
get that core, pull that core in.
That's right. Pull them shoulders back. What is happening? Learn how to walk upright. So we definitely need to collaborate. I would love that.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. Well, Danielle, thank you so much.
This has been
therapeutic to really talk about the state of media, and then also just all the changes that we've seen, and we're still here and still doing it.
That's right. Look at us. Look at us. Look at
still
us.
Inspiring others. Yeah. The next time, we'll be doing some other things. We'll maybe doing audiobooks, be doing Hey Jen and all the other apps.
And then you guys have a women's circle, right? That you that you're part of.
Yeah, Black Door Society. So I come to DC a lot. So when we have our next event, I will invite you to that. BlackDoorSociety.org. It's really opening doors of opportunity for other Black women.
I love that. I love that you guys are doing that. That's amazing.
Listen, I've always been into that, right? That's my thing. I should have been at Howard. That's where I should have been, right? But I come there a lot. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And Danielle, they can follow you, Danielle Ricks online.
It's just Danielle Ricks on Instagram, Threads. Follow me on Threads. Don't follow me on Threads. Only follow me on Threads if you don't know me. Substack everywhere. It's just my first and last name.
Substack. Yes, we love Substack.
YouTube as well.
Yeah, we'll do it. And of course, definitely video, because that's the thing.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good talk.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast, brought to you by PamPerryPR.com, where you'll get insider tips on how to build your platform, pitch the media, and promote yourself with confidence. Head over to PamPerryPR.com and get the exclusive video training on the 7 must-have marketing materials you need before you pitch in order to be considered in media places or superstar stages. PamPerryPR.com, where you help you shine like